Welcome, Taz, to the Vulnerable Voices podcast with your host, me, Nisha Mystery. I am very excited to have you on as a guest. I know you are a podcast host yourself, so it's nice to have you on as a guest and share your journey and all the incredible things that you're doing. We met sort of online and a few calls here and there and voice notes, I think a couple of months ago now. And honestly, we've just connected and we share similar values when it comes to community and helping others and support. And I've just been in awe of your journey and the amazing things that you're doing. Honestly,
Thank
it
you.
takes grit and it takes a lot of dedication to do what you're doing. So I'm really excited to have you on today. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Dish. I'm very, very excited. This was me a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? You were my guest speaker and I was the host, so it feels a bit different. But thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate that. So yeah, I'm feeling great about today.
I'm excited. And also, it's the first time I'm doing an audio podcast, obviously, for respect and everything like that. This will be an audio podcast, which would be great. So I'm excited to get stuck in and learn about you and share to my audience about the amazing things that you're doing, but also where it's come from and why you're so deeply connected to it. So if you don't mind, we'd love for you to introduce yourself, and then I'll probably have some questions to follow up from there.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, my name's Taz and I am the founder of a non-profit charity called the H Foundation. And we are a non-profit charity. We are a multiple award-winning charity as well. And I am the founder, the person who does everything. I'd always refer to the H Foundation as we, when really it's just little old me running around. And so I provide free services for families in the community. We work with a range of ages and people as well. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm the ambassador for ADHD UK and also At a Loss charity, which is around grief and bereavement. And also last year I was selected to sit on the United Nations UK Women's Committee, which has been lovely. And I'm also a local school governor as well. So heavily involved and committed in working along other organisations as well.
It's incredible. So many hats that you wear and the awards is, you deserve to be recognized. Like, I know all the amazing things that you're doing and the effects it's having on the people that are, sharing the space with you and coming to the community events. So honestly, well done. It takes a lot of effort to do that, and I'm really proud of you. If you don't mind, we're going to explore your own personal journey and where it sort of started to create the H Foundation. Would you mind just sharing a bit about your journey to where it came about, what sort of motivated you to create the H Foundation, and what does the H stand for?
Okay, so I'll try to remember all those wonderful questions that you just asked. So the H Foundation, the H stands for the letters of my children's first names. And funny enough, as weeks went on, it was like a goosebump moment. And I decided to then have sub meanings, which is humanity, help, home, hope, health, and heal. So that those H values, there's an umbrella, and underneath that umbrella is where we run services. And it kind of came about. I've always wanted to have my own charity. I've always wanted to go out there and help the community. But because I'm a mum of a SEND child, due to just the fact that, I had to prioritize everything, I never got round to launching my own charity. And then we are now in our third year, and hopefully, God willing, on the 1st of September, we'll go into year 4 of the H Foundation. And so 3 years ago, I just decided that's when we'd won our first award. It just motivated me to do something a little bit more concrete. So that's when the H Foundation came about. And then since then, we've just been running the services. But to be honest with you, it came about the fact that, I'm a SEND parent. And I could see that talking to parents just locally in the school. So when I do school drop-offs and pickups and stuff, and I was part of my youngest son's PTA. And so I'd have the opportunity to talk to a lot of families in the community and part of the school community. And what I realized was a lot of SEND parents were struggling, with getting a diagnosis, having the idea of their child having a diagnosis, or just the general world of SEND. Obviously, being a SEND parent myself, everybody would go, God, you handle it so well. And I think it wasn't more so that I was handling it. I think it's got to do with who your support system is, and realizing that not everybody has got that support system, and there's struggles and obstacles put into people's way. And so the idea of the H Foundation was, what can I do with being a SEND parent myself, a SEND mum? What can I do in the community that will help people and bring people together and provide activities? And I think the idea that I had and the vision I had of the H Foundation to what it is now, we've like really grown as a charity, but that's because there's certain things that have happened. Like, another thing that I've noticed, particularly in certain communities, is we don't talk about mental health amongst ourselves as adults, but also with children. And being a SEND mum, is that you naturally are always on the go, and you have this, it's like you can't even rest. Your mind doesn't rest. And so that, again, that lived in experience of, are people okay? Are they being like emotionally, mentally looked after as SEND parents? So I think that's where the H Foundation came from, which was to go out there and help. It was always going to be a charity for everyone. And it wasn't necessarily going to be, and my idea was not a SEND and charity, but I think that the passion came from being a SEND parent and knowing the difficulties. Even when you have got things in place like support systems, it's still hard. So every day you're trying to, you have your child having meltdowns, or, as soon as the phone rings and you see it's the school, you think something's happened. And it could be from first thing in the morning, you get up and, a meltdown happens and you've literally just got out of bed. And those struggles, knowing that it's really, my background is education and, child development, everything like that. And if I can struggle having that experience and knowledge, I was thinking it must be really difficult for others. And I think that's where the idea of trying to do something out there in the community. And then I wear a lot of different hats. So it's nice to just go out there and do different things for different people. Yeah.
Usually with these like guests that I have on, or people who have either a charity or an organization or business, it's always driven from their own personal experiences to then want to help people who may be feeling similar or isolated, or want to feel encouraged that they're not alone. And that's what I love about people like you, is actually there are people out there doing amazing things and also navigating their own personal dealings with send children or anything else that they might be dealing with. For those who don't know the terminology send and never come across it, what does it stand for?
So it stands for Special Education Needs and Disabilities. There is quite a big, broad range in terms of quite a lot of diagnosis can be put underneath that umbrella. But basically, it's for anyone who has got special needs or a disability. So it could be a physical disability or a hidden disability like autism, ADHD. So they're hidden disabilities to children who, are physically, they're in a wheelchair or they're deaf, so they wear a cochlear implants or hearing aids. So it kind of goes underneath that umbrella. And so, yeah, and I think what you were saying, going back to what you were saying about how the community does drive you, in the sense of there's stuff happening in the community that everybody kind of needs to come together at some point or needs some sort of help or support. And so when you're a SEND parent yourself, you try your best to want to help others because you have been through that struggle yourself at some point. I mean, in terms of things like sleep, you know, our Sen child slept really badly at the beginning, in the early years, then slept really well. So we did have some good nights. And then now, back into that kind of like, not sleeping so well. So when you hear other parents saying, God, I can't sleep because my child is not sleeping, you resonate with that straight away. And I think the special thing about the Sen community is that sometimes you can just look at a Sen parent and you know that they're struggling, or they've gone through a time. And it's really interesting because what I would do is when we'd have things like Easter holidays, Christmas holidays, but in particular the summer, when children who, have got autism, ADHD, neurodiverse children, because they haven't got that routine and pattern, is that they really you start to see behavior changes, emotional changes, and that has an impact on the parents and the obviously other children. And one of the big things that I'm an advocate for is that let's not forget about the siblings, because when you are a sibling of a brother or sister who's got special needs, they're in and out of hospital, they're in clinics, they've got endless appointments, they're having meltdowns, they don't eat, they don't want to go out, they don't want to wear anything in particular. These are all examples that sibling is growing up with another sibling thinking, what is going on? And that then affects their mental health, emotional health. And, that again is something that we need to talk about. And so having that lived in experience of, okay, I've got another child who hasn't got special needs, how it's going to affect. And that's why we have a Sen sibling group, because that group had come about from having that lived in experience at home, that if I find it days where it's difficult, what about my youngest child? So those things I think is what drives you to want to set up services or help families and communities, because you've seen it in your firsthand in your own house. So, things like that I think are really important. I really believe that as a founder of a charity, you must go out in the community yourself. And I just think that that's the way you understand your community. So, by going out in the community and realizing what is accessible and what isn't, what is available, but also those families who are not accessing services or support or help. Why? What are the barriers? And I don't think I would have known that if I didn't go out in the community myself and run services and talk to families and the local community to say, what are you struggling with? And then you realize it's not, as well, Nisha, it's not just about being a Sen parent. It's about, things like mental health. We all have got to look after our mental health. And in the day and age that we are in now, there's more stresses, there's financial problems, everything. So you resonate with each other. I mean, just this week I'll be running a menopause clinic. And it's about getting a group of women and saying, don't worry, we all are going through this together and you're not on your own. And things like that is you're going out in the community, or it's a lived in experience. So the whole menopause thing is, yes, I'm in my 40s and that's what I need to kind of do. So yeah, it's interesting. So I
Yeah, I
think
like
there's
the collective sort of feeling there. One person opens up and says, I'm going through this, and someone catches an ear and goes, yeah, like me too. Or even if they don't say it initially, they might think about it and go, okay, do you know what? The next time I see them, I'll talk to them because they mentioned something similar. And it then just, there's a sense of belonging. It's an innate biological need that we have as humans. It goes back to caveman days of a sense of belonging. We always need somewhere we
yeah,
feel safe in communities. And culturally as well, going back, like when my parents or other parents of my generation or etc., they came down here from another country and had big communities to feel safe, to feel like they belong. And it's really, really important
absolutely.
that it's the same case with mental health or SEN children or anyone who may be experiencing menopause, like you said, and anything that is giving it's a sense of change or something that's considered, I quote, air quotes, different. than the norm. But what is the norm? That every like there's multiple things that could be considered the norm for people. You just have to find the group that are living similar to you to
Yeah,
feel a sense of belonging. And I do
absolutely.
like the aspect of the sibling community as well, because like you said, it impacts them too in a household where you realize that actually the time, the care, the affection, the appointments, the all the things that you need to focus on with that child that may need extra support can impact the siblings too and their level of like maybe feeling isolated or the stress that comes with it and all these extra things that you don't think that they might be feeling because either they don't vocalize it or they just are used to it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really, really great support network for siblings, which is amazing.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, what were some of the signs or symptoms or little things that you noticed before you got the diagnosis when you were sort of early on and you were like, actually, I need to investigate something's not quite right and I need to go and speak to someone.
I think in our case it's a little bit different because our
Mm.
child has got multiple conditions. But I would say that talking to people in the community and obviously going through it myself is that if you are unsure about your child and you have got a niggling feeling, is to go and see someone in that professional role, you know, whether it's a pediatrician or whether it's your GP or whether it's a school as well. And you feel because sometimes what happens is, and what I've seen in the community is that people will go, oh, you know, he doesn't talk a lot because he's a boy. And I've heard that boys talk later. And the number of times I've had to say to families that, you know, that can't be used as a reason. You know, if it, what is it because you're a bit concerned? And they go, yeah, well then maybe go to the GP. So I think there's certain that as a parent, there's certain things that it might be because you've had a previous child and you didn't see it in that child, or because you know of someone who has got special needs and there's a little bit of similarities. And so symptoms, I think anything that makes you as a parent or, you know, think that I'm not quite sure, then and I think everyone's journey is very different. It depends on if their child has got multiple conditions or whether there's a speech issue more than a send issue. And that is that there might be speech delayed and they just need to catch up. Or it could be that there's speech delayed because underlying there's going to be a neurodiverse issue going on. So in terms of symptoms and stuff, I think it all depends on the child. But what I would say is if a parent has got anything that doesn't feel right, go to the GP because that, as a mother, you kind of know that. I'm not sure. And sometimes what people do is they listen to the older generation, which is things like he's a boy. He'll try not to listen to like the old folks tales kind of thing. Is that, you know, I know people mean well, but if you yourself feel like there's symptoms that you think are not right, then go and see the GP, you know, straight away, I would say.
No, that's great advice. Thank you. And yes, I love that you raise a point that everyone's situations are very different. And so some of these, this is your experience that we're talking about today, would be helpful for someone who might be listening and go, actually, I have that niggle. It's even just the start of that niggle that goes,
Yeah.
actually, it's worth going to see someone and speak to someone who actually provides a non-judgmental space and can go, okay, I understand, and this is what we can do, etc. There may be an element of fear as well, certain generations or culturally, or, you sort of, there is that comparison culture, unfortunately, that, we've all experienced, or many of us have experienced with other cousins or siblings or larger extended families where you start comparing to each other or you get compared. And so there is a level of fear of investigation when it comes to your own children or families to go, actually, that they might be navigating life differently and I need to explore it, but I'm scared that they'll
Yeah.
won't be the same as others. And that's the thing that we're trying to break the stigma against. It's like no one's chosen the path that they're on or what they have to navigate. And two, it is okay. Like we are all different. We are not supposed to be the same. And this is how we learn and grow empathy and can support each other. What sort of challenges and setbacks would you say you've encountered along the way? Or, even amongst, people in your community? Have you faced some setbacks or any challenges?
I think the thing with challenges and the setbacks is that they will always be there, but it's how
Mm,
you deal with it. And I think as a community and society, talking about fear, also the other side is denial. So you know that
yeah.
your child, there's something not right, but you don't even want to because of fear. So you're absolutely right. You just deny it and you go, no, no, my child's fine. Or you do listen to the old folks tale, which is, oh no, maybe it is he's a boy and he's going to talk a little bit later on. And that could be the case, but majority of the case, I mean, it's not usually around. And the idea that a boy and a girl, they talk at different languages, language and how you acquire it is not gender based. So it's really interesting to see that things like setbacks tends and challenges tends to be the people around you. So it could be that your setback or your challenge is that someone's saying, no, don't worry about it, it's fine, leave it, leave it. And then later on, you do realize that actually I should have just gone to the GP because, for example, the speech is not improving and it's not getting better. Our language is a big barrier as well. So a lot of people, they won't access services or do anything because they are worried about, and not worried, but they have got that thing with they haven't got English as a first language. So when they want to go out in the community and get the help and support, they don't. And that's why I think as well, Nietzsche, it's really important that myself being a in that South Asian community and flying that flag is that, people think, well, if she's, of the same color as me or the community as me. If she can do it, I'm going to do it. And I think that that's why it's really important to have people like yourself who advocate mental health and do it in such a fantastic way because you're very open and honest about your journey. And how, I've got to be honest and open about my journey and am about it, is that it's us people who will then go out in the community and say, it's okay to talk about it, don't worry. And so I hope there's people like us who try to help those families who are having those challenges or having those barriers put into place. But hopefully, as time goes on, people will sort of reach out to someone.
Yeah, it's so true. And thank you. That was very kind. Advocating for something that, hasn't been normalized or encouraged for a very long time. I mean, I say this, we're in 2026. But I still feel like there's so much stigma still. We've still got that like old school mentality sometimes. And it is around. It is what it is because we've got generations that are still here with the same mindset. We've got people who have adopted those kind of thinking and ways of being as well and don't sort of look outside of that. And that's okay for them. That's absolutely fair. But I think what you and I are trying to do is just kind of level off the field and say it is okay and it's here for everyone, talking's for everyone, communities are for everyone. And so that's what I love about what you're doing and your charity is that it's open to all. It means that everyone can access it. Everyone has the right to. And, you're not closing it off to anyone, which I think is brilliant. And I think accessibility is a huge thing at the moment, especially the world of mental health that I'm sort of in and always like looking at like what's accessible, what's not, health checks, and talking therapies, communities, they're not always accessible to everyone.
Yeah,
And so people like you do make it accessible, and I love that.
I hope so.
So
I
I
hope
just
so.
wanted to I'm just so proud and I just feel really grateful that like we've stumbled across each other and sort of through
Oh,
similar
so true.
networks. It's just it gives hope is contagious. So what you're doing gives hope and then it's contagious to give other people hope and I love it. So I just want to take a minute just to appreciate you there because it's fantastic.
And I think that's what drives me to do the services and to keep on going because when you just, you all you want to do is help people and support people. And even if it's one person or 10 people or 50 people, it just makes such a difference. And, doing things like baby groups and seeing all the babies like loving baby yoga or baby massage or baby signing to, even doing mental health, workshops for South Asian women or anything like just to know that they've left an it's really interesting because I think evaluation forms are great. I think they're great and I think that they're needed, but nothing is better than when somebody comes up to you and says, "Thank you so much. You know, that workshop was great or that session was great. Really needed it." And I wish that we could just bottle that moment up and put a lid on it, because that is the most, best feedback that you can get. You can see it in their eyes, you can see it in their body language, in their face expressions, that whatever you've said during that session, it has meant so much to them and it's given them hope. And that's what I think drives me, because even if it's one person, I think I'm so glad. And
I love it because sometimes yes, everyone's different in terms of, medication and like, go and seek advice on what you need to take and, etc. But there is there is a certain feeling, like you said, of being around people where the medication and the joy and the feelings that you get is with people. It's like it treats a different side in us, or like part of us, like joy and hope and love and the community feel that just, and you walk differently when you've come away from a community event. You wake up feeling different. And I think that sometimes in itself is just like a great form of medication too. Like there are certain things that I've struggled with, and obviously medication has been offered and things like that. But sometimes I do feel it it just masks what we really need. And what we really need these days is genuine connection, genuine open
definitely.
spaces to talk
Yeah,
and feel
definitely.
human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. There's a lady who came to a recent set of series that I was doing called Mindful Makers, and
Mm.
I know of her history and stuff. And when she first came, her body language, her kind of like emotional and mental well-being, to when we finished in week 4, I could see even the way she was walking. She loved that group and she got something from that group. Like we talk about the energy, the positivity, the just to be able to unload in a safe space and a safe environment and just be very honest, definitely helped her, because by week 4 you could see the stride, like this, her steps and her stride was different. She was carrying herself different, because every time she came to that class, and she, not only was she growing in that class, but you could see she loved it. And it was so nice to see that she didn't even need to say anything. Forget about evaluation forms or whatever. You could see it in her body language. And I thought that was really great to see. Something like that is what drives us and, wants us to do more, because she was somebody who needed it. And as time has gone on, has benefited from it. I think it's all those things, isn't it, that really make us think, yeah, you're absolutely right. We need to connect. It's about energy. It's about being around each other, sharing stories, experiencing, and not feeling alone. And that, I think, is the biggest barrier, and the biggest challenge is loneliness. And a lot of people are feel it. And so with that fear of loneliness, they won't go out. And it takes a lot of courage to come out and access services, or just to talk to someone. And once that is broken, they think, well, if I can do it now, I can do it again. And that's what
Mm.
you want. So yeah, it's all to do with what you were saying. Absolutely, 100%.
I love that. And I am so, I don't even know this lady, but I'm happy for her. Like I can sense through your
Absolutely.
storytelling here, the energy shift. And when you see that, it's just so beautiful because
It's
you're like,
magical.
you've made an impact, and that impact doesn't have to be massive. It's just being around a room with the right energy can really shift how you feel and how you walk and everything. You can tell, sometimes you can tell in a person how they're feeling, or, their sort of energy by the way that they hold themselves. Usually rounded shoulders, they've got a lot of heart stuff, heart space kind of energy that's a bit low or needs sort of
Mm,
expressing, or, the eye contact, or yeah, you can just, in some aspects you can tell, but it takes bravery to show up and go
yes.
to these community
Absolutely.
spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. And also as well, Nish, I think that as people who do run those services, is that when you have those moments, is to not let it bypass. I think life is so fast paced and it's quick. But I think when you have that moment, is to soak that moment in, either right there and just really soak it in and go, wow, that's the impact that I've made. or go home and find a time where you actually acknowledge that you did that. You know, it was because you've set this up, or whether it's something you've said. It doesn't necessarily mean that me, as someone who ran the workshop, it was me who made her feel that way or whatever. It could be someone else, but just to, you know, soak in that moment and enjoy it as someone who has created that environment, that honest, safe environment for people to be able to sort of access it is really important. It was really positive for that person, but it was also really positive for you. And sometimes in life, it's so quick. We just go, great, that service is done, or we've done that session, brilliant. Right, let's go on to the next one. It's to actually acknowledge that, you know, you've made an impact on what, even if it's one person. So
Yeah.
even that as well, I think is really important.
Time and consistency is so key, and it is really hard when you're feeling low and you just feel a bit hopeless and you just haven't actually physically got energy to show up anywhere. Taking that step to show up and consistently do that, the accountability there, the results are just like you've just said, within 4 weeks. I mean, you was noticing a difference, and that's the key. Is it's to counter the initial thoughts around I don't have the energy, that I don't to actually, I can do it. I want to show up. I will give it a go. And I love that about people is we do have this
Yeah.
resilience. And we were talking about this earlier in terms of resilience, that when you have faced so much adversity and you have gone through so much, the only thing you can do is try something different and keep trying until something sticks. And I love
Yeah.
that with your community. It's there, it's consistent, it's available.
Giving them that skill set that, you know, you
Mm.
put it in their lap. And so after 4 weeks, when the course was finished, what I would hope is that she's learned something from it, and then will take it up, scoop it up and go, right, well, where can I now, you know, where can I put this in my life, sort of thing. And I think that's also really important as people who run, you know, these kind of services or sessions or workshops, is that you're equipping those, to your participants, with something. It can even be something like hope. And you're putting it in their lap and you're like, right, now you've got this, a little bit of it, what you're going to do with it. So that's important as well, isn't it? It's about awareness. It's about spread. It's a ripple effect where you just have to, you know, put one drop and you just want it to ripple out, so that everybody starts to feel it and wants to, you know, be part of it. And you brought it up, and very well to bring up, is mindset. That, okay, maybe I need to change my mindset and do things differently instead of the way I did, because it wasn't working. And so people like us go out in the community to try to make that ripple effect, or to try to give something to that person and say, right, here you go. We've given you a bit of it. Now go and, you know, adapt it in your life. And that's what it's about, isn't it, really? So, yeah, I'll just,
If it's available and it's consistent and, there are results, and there's no force for anyone to like have to come or be told that they need to. It comes down to their own sense of wanting to be there and accountability. And, when it's something's there and there's a curiosity about it and, people come away with positive feedback and stuff, there's an element of curiosity when you have been through so much that you're like, what have I got to lose? Nothing, right? It can only try and get better from here if I try something different. And that's why I like, because you've got such a variety of offerings that you do. And I think it's incredible because mental health and things that people go through, physical, mental, spiritual, all of these things, setbacks and challenges we can have, you are covering a lot of things. And I like the variety that you offer because everyone's different.
yeah,
And so one thing might not work for another, but it might work for this person. And that's what I like is the variety that you offer. So there's something for everyone. And how do you come up with the sessions that you want to run? And do you work with people to come and like run the sessions who are skilled at it? Do you do them solo? Like, how does it work?
so that's a really good question, actually, because again, it goes back to when I'm out in the community, what is it that I see? Where's the gaps? And, you know, I want a vision. I have a vision of what the H Foundation will be about. But my vision is also that it's not about me and what I want, it's about the families in the community. So I'm handing them the responsibility and thinking, well, you tell me what you want. And that's where I've seen the gap. So things like the H collection is our branching off, which is when we have like pop-up shops. And it's got stuff on there that is items that we sell that are around speech and language, early development, special needs, because that stuff is not available outside, but it's only through going out in the community and seeing it that I've thought, okay, so like a fathers group that we've just recently put together. What else okay, people want first aid. And so going back to your question, if there's a skill set that I've got, I will solely deliver it myself. But I think one of the things that Hate Foundation is very good at, and I think that, I've always wanted to do that, is collaboration. And so if there's something around that is medical, and obviously I'm not a nurse or a doctor, I'd say, oh, do you want to come and do something for us? And then everyone goes, yeah, sure. And I think collaboration is good because they bring their skill set and we have a ready-made community where they just access it. But if it's something that I think I can do, then I'll run it. Like things like baby yoga, I'm a baby yoga instructor, breathwork coach. So I would just run those things myself. But where there's a need in the community, but I can't run it, then I'm always and have always collaborated. And I think that that's a wonderful thing to do, as much as we can try to support each other, help each other, but also bring other people's skill set on board is really good. So yeah, that's how we do it.
That's how you grow communities as well. Is because also to help people, we also have to lean into other people's skill sets because we can't do it all, right? And if we could, we would. But at the end of the day, there are really like skilled people out there who specialize in certain areas and things
Mm,
to be able to offer an in-depth session or education. Because a lot of your community events and things that you offer is education based, isn't it? It's
yeah.
offering a sense of like understanding for the topic or
Hmm.
what you're here for, so that people come away feeling informed. And so that information comes from reliable sources, people's lived experience, people's education. And yeah, I think it's great because in order to have that ripple effect, we need to tap into others who are share similar values of wanting to help and share their skills in the right way. What would you say your top sort of 5 values are?
In terms of values for,
The community and yourself.
I would say for me, the biggest thing is unity, is bringing the community together so that we are all sort of working together, supporting each other and helping each other. That's definitely one. And kindness is it
Oh,
sounds really basic and really silly, but I mean, the world that we live in is so fast paced. Sometimes
mhm.
we don't have time for each other, and you could just look across at someone and smile and make their day. So kindness is, I think, is a big thing that, we really got to try to show up for each other in terms of kindness and helping each other out. I would say sharing is a really big thing as well because the world is a lonely place. A lot of people think, like an example would be a lady I know whose a child went to secondary school and all of a sudden his behaviour changed. He was doing the typical teenage things and he'd gone from being a really sweet child to a monster, is what she said. And I said, no, no. But it was only until she started to talk to other people and they started to share their story that she started to realise actually it's just not me on my own. Everybody's experiencing this. So sharing, I think, having that time and space to be able to share experiences and stories so you don't feel so lonely is probably another one. I can't think of any more at the top of my head.
No, I love them. And like you said, these values, they don't have to be these massive, grand anything. Actually, the best values are the simple ones,
Yeah.
the kindness. I mean, why aren't we kind to people in 2026, given all the stresses that people have and, the loneliness, like crisis and mental health struggles? Kindness is a huge one, and it's so simple to do. A smile,
Yeah,
a
I
pat
think,
on the back,
and
or
even
yeah,
something like a listening ear. A lot of people
yeah.
who are experiencing that kind of loneliness or they feel like they're doing everything on their own. All they just need is a listening ear. And how simple is that? But again, are we giving other people that time? because we're so busy ourselves. But then that's what makes the community become kind of like separated, because I think since
Mm.
COVID, because we were so used to being in our own place, it's trying to get everyone back together now and saying, come on, I know that was many years ago, but there's again, it's that ripple effect, isn't it? So we're trying to
Yeah,
get people, just be kind, just listen, just share experiences. And I think it's interesting, even when I run things like baby groups, the mums will go, god, my baby's teething and I can't sleep, and you can see the mental and emotional stress on that mum, but it's only until she talks to another mum who goes, oh, by the way, I'm in the same boat, and just that problem just on the shoulders goes, because it's like, oh, it's not just me then. And that's why I always say to mums with newborn babies, please get out the house and access things like baby yoga, baby massage, parent and toddler groups, because if you stay in those four walls, you just end up, your mindset changes and you become really lonely. Again, you become really lonely. You think everything that's happening in your life, that four walls cave in. So it's really
mm,
important to get out, go for a stroll, but also, start connecting up to groups so you don't feel it's just you going through it on your own. Because even like having a new baby, it's so lovely, so much joy, but what comes with it is sleepless nights and actually just being a parent, especially when it's first time, because you're not given a manual, and you think, am I doing things right? So yeah, those things, just connection. I mean, that's another value, and that's one of yours, Nisha. It's not mine, but connection.
100%. I think we just need to stop sort of the comparison as well and
Yeah,
accept like people's journey is their journey and our journey is ours. And we always have this thing that we want to like provide advice or unsolicited advice or solutions to other people, especially with new mums, I find, or new parents. It's always, there is an element of, am I doing it wrong? Is someone else doing it better than me? And sometimes going to these groups can be scary, but communities like yours, where it's just open and wholesome and real, and there's no, element of
yeah,
comparison to put people down, you just feel more human. And also, parents who, there are some single moms out there, and I rate you, and to go to these groups are incredibly important. It's your support network. But if there are parents out there who are in couples and have a support network there, that the men should come along too. It's their family unit to actually encourage them to connect and be present and build those emotional relationships with the partner and the child as well. It's really, really
yeah. I
important.
think it's really important. I think we have to understand our community as well. And I think those who, are single mothers, particularly from South Asian communities, they're looked down upon. And that's something I can't resonate with, because I'm not a single mum, but I can see that there is that challenge there. Now, I think that there's that kind of like, oh my God. And even just saying that, I'm a single mum, it takes a couple of encounters for that particular lady to say that, oh, by the way, I'm a single mum. And so you have to be really sensitive to your community's needs. And we're not one who will judge. But I think it's really important for those mums to know that they'll be supported whether they're with someone or not. And it is, and there's some women who are in relationships. People think, oh, she's really lucky, she's in a relationship. But in actual fact, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And, people just assume that because you're with someone, a partner, you're in a very happy relationship.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be, but sometimes it isn't. So, it's really difficult. It is. And, you just have, where you have to find your blessings, you do. But yeah, is what it is, really.
I think that's what I love is because there's so much diversity in people's situations that your community and spaces is just, it comes back to those core values, the simple values, kindness, listening, sharing. And so it's really important that then it takes away any level of like hierarchy or comparison and things like that. So I
Yeah.
love it. So thank you for sharing. Last couple of questions before we can see where we can find you and connect with you is, if you were sat with your younger self around 3 or 4, what would you say to her?
I think I would say to her, just always be yourself. Like, never change for anybody. Always be yourself. And that if you really believe in something, that to stick by those dreams. You know, we have dreams, we have ideas, we have visions, and to always, you know, just to always stick to it and try your best to get there. Like, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. Your ideas, your visions, but also be yourself. Like, don't compare yourself to anybody. Just be very confident in yourself and see it through. And I think that's what I try to tell my children. And, you know, that's what my husband always tries to tell our kids, is that, you know, try to be yourself, and, you know, don't worry about comparing yourself with anyone. I think what the youth are going through now is completely different to what we were. But going back to that age, yeah, it's just to, you know, stay strong in the sense of not stay strong, but stay strong in your beliefs and who you are and your identity, and love yourself. Like, love yourself. Don't shy away, and where you can take opportunity, take it. That's what I would say probably to, I do say to my kids as well. So yeah, definitely.
I love that. It's true. It's so hard because you're molded when you're young. You know, you're constantly, you can be impressionable. And so identity is really, really important for sure. I love that. You've covered the second question I had anyway. So thank you for answering that. I love it. Where can people find you, connect with you? What cool things have you got coming up that people can come along to?
So you can find us on Instagram. We are the H Foundation and then the number one. And in terms of our website, we're www.thehfoundation.co.uk. And what have we got coming up? God, what don't we have coming up?
I will be listing it, don't worry.
Yeah, there's always things that are coming up. So hopefully, God willing, from the 1st of September, we're going into year 4. We've got a big project that is launching that I can't at the moment reveal. But then we've also got, come year 4, we've got a completely different turn. That we're going to be doing, that is going to be involving a lot more like personal experiences. And so we've got another like 2 big projects coming up as well. But we're always doing things for babies, for toddlers, for fathers, for mothers. We work with the elderly, we work with teenagers. And so, you know, I would say our Instagram page is the best place to find us and what we're doing, what we're up to. We're always doing pop-up shops. We've also got a podcast as well. So we're on Spotify under the Voices. And if anybody is interested in purchasing anything around special needs that is such an accessible and affordable rate, we've got the H collection. And so you could get in touch with me and I could go through all of that stuff. So yeah, we've really branched out, and we're always kind of doing other things, and we're planning on branching out more. So hopefully it's not the last that you hear of us. But if anyone ever has got any questions about what we run and how we run it and anything like that, just get in touch with us. On Instagram, there's a contact button that's got our email address, my charity mobile number, and yeah, or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm always happy to take questions and stuff.
Thank you. I will, of course, be listing this when the episode goes live so people can access you, connect with you, and keep up to date with all the incredible stuff that you are doing. Taz, thank you. You've been an absolute superstar today, and it's just lifted my spirit, this conversation. I'll be walking with a pep in my step, knowing there are people like you out there in the community.
No, that's the same
And
with you, Nisha. That's the same with you. It's a lot. It's such a lot. Every time we talk, I know for me, I can speak on behalf of myself. I always leave our conversation with a big smile on my face. And again, so proud of you. And when you came on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, very brave, very honest, very transparent, but also so uplifting and inspiring that, wow, and I always talk about you to other people because I think sometimes there's people that are real good role models or fine examples of, going out there, going through something, but then using that experience that we've been through to then help others. And I think that's what makes when you've had got a lived in experience and you use that to then help other people, that makes you very special. And I think that we're very lucky to have some people in the community like that, because that's what drives you and has that passion. So definitely, even yourself, is you're always doing amazing things. So likewise for us as well.
Thank you. Honestly, that get me all teary. Thank you. That's so sweet. And honestly, I just have so many good things to say about you. And I really hope we can do something soon in the future, because I think the more
When God wills it, we will do it. Don't worry.
100%. And do you know what? Thank you. I just wish you all the abundance with everything you're doing and safety. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I cannot wait for this episode to go live, and just have a fantastic time doing everything that you're doing. And
Thank you.
thank you. Just thank you.
No, thank you too as well. And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've absolutely loved it. It feels very different being answering the questions as opposed to asking them. So yeah, thanks for giving me that opportunity. Thanks a lot, Nisha. And again, carry on being fantastic yourself.
Thank you. You too. And I will see you soon. You never know, a spin off might be coming.
Yeah. All right
I'll
then.
speak to you soon.
All right.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye.
Bye.